Intellectual capital, the main
What
concept.
about knowledge, which is also pretty vital to the creation of prosperity? That is where intellectual capital comes in, sometimes known as knowledge capital or human capital. Intellectual capital became important in the 1990s when it was clear that the value of certain companies went a long way beyond the value of their buildings or even their brand. The term was introduced, perhaps most persuasively, by the financial journalist Thomas Stewart in his 1997 book Intellectual Capital, which explored the ability of companies to use their collective brain power to make a difference by winning an edge over competitors, people who compete with each other, or exploiting their intellectual property. The difficulty is that intellectual capital is extremely difficult to measure, yet something that companies have to be aware of and to plan for. Otherwise, it will simply walk out the door and go and work for their competitors. There are other difficulties too. Some of the know-how, usually the stuff that goes unnoticed by senior managers, really can't be measured at all, including relationships with customers or suppliers or the people who know. For example, whether screwdrivers are kept in the office. Although these can be crucial when it comes to getting things done, this kind of intellectual capital is next to impossible to communicate on a balance sheet. Okay, the drill down. Human capital does not just apply to companies. A national workforce skills and willingness to learn provide countries with an obvious economic advantage if they have a good broad educational system which provides young people with creative skills. A nation will thrive compared with one where their population sits around expecting the same traditional factory job as their forefathers. That is why human capital and exploitation is assessed as part of a national intangible capital (NIC) using the methodology known as ELSS or Edvinson Lynn Stahle after its creators. The United States currently sit at the top of NIC rankings, followed by Singapore and then Sweden. Focus. One of the first signs that a concept like intellectual capital was required came with the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s, when it became clear that a dot-com startup like AOL had a valuation that was high, that it could take over a well-established bricks and mortar business like Time Warner. The result was one of the most dysfunctional mergers of all time.